Okay, in last class we have started uh, the reflection of light through a plane mirror by a plane mirror, and we have started that the related to the terms related to the reflection of light from a plane mirror, from a plane mirror. Okay, in last class we have drawn a diagram. At let's see the diagram. What was that? Suppose this is the plane surface. Suppose this is the plane surface. This is the plane reflecting surface, which works as a mirror. Which works as a mirror, and this is called the plane mirror. And this is the reflecting surface. Reflecting surface, or we can say smooth surface, and it is called plane mirror. Plane mirror, and we have also drawn the other rays, like the rays which falls on the mirror like this. The ray of light which travels towards the mirror is called incident ray. Incident ray, and the ray which is reflected into the same medium after the striking on the mirror is called a reflected ray.
Reflected ray.
Reflected ray, very good. And the line which is an imaginary line and which always perpendicular to the surface is called normal. It's called normal. And we also know the angle made by the reflected angle made by the incident ray with the normal is called
Angle of incidence.
this
Angle of
angle is
incidence.
called angle of incidence. This angle is represented by angle I, and it is called angle of incidence or angle of incidence. Incidence. And again, here is the angle. This angle is represented by angle R, and the angle made by the reflected ray with normal is called angle of reflection. Angle of reflection. And again, we also know the other quantities, like the angle made by the incident ray. The angle made by the incident ray with the reflecting surface or mirror is called glance angle of incidence. Glance angle of incidence. And the angle made by the reflected ray with the reflecting surface or mirror is called glance angle of reflection. Glance angle of reflection. And the point where the rays of light strikes on the surface.
Point of incidence.
This point, the point where the rays of light incident is called point of incidence. Point of incidence. And there is another term related to the reflection of light. Suppose if I talk about the initial direction of the incident ray, then the direction is this. Yes or no, beta?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
And the angle made by the reflected ray with the initial direction of the incident ray is called
Angle
angle of deviation. This angle is called angle of deviation. This angle is called angle of deviation. Yes or no, beta? You have any doubt in
Yes.
regarding the definition of all the terms?
No.
No, sir.
No, beta. Okay, first draw the diagram, then we will continue. Okay, let's start the next topic, which is laws of reflection. Laws of reflection. Okay. Now, what happens when the rays of light strike on the surface, then it is bounced back into the same medium after striking on that surface, and then that certain laws which it follows always. Okay. Basically, there are two laws of reflection which is followed by the light rays. Okay. So write down here. The reflection of light, the reflection of light from a surface always follow certain laws, and that are called the laws of reflection. It is called laws of reflection, and here is the first law of reflection. First law of reflection, what it says that it says the incident ray, incident ray, normal, and the reflected ray always lie in the same plane at the point of incidence. At the point of incidence. See what happened when a ray of light strike on the surface. When a ray of light strike on the surface. See what happened when the ray of light strike on the surface. Then the rays of light, which are first ray is incident ray, okay, and the second ray is reflected ray. Yes or no? And the third ray is normal. The third ray is normal. This is normal. This is incident ray, and this is reflected ray. All lie in the same plane at the point of incidence. Point of incidence, and this is called the first law of reflection. Note it down first. Okay. The next one is the second law of reflection. The next one is second law of reflection, and what it says that the angle of incidence, is equal to the
Angle of reflection.
reflection. Angle of reflection, and angle of incidence is represented by angle I, and angle of reflection is represented by angle R. So what we can say that angle I is equal to angle R, and it is always correct. And there are some important points like laws of reflection are applicable. Laws of reflection are applicable for the plane surfaces as well as the spherical surfaces. Yes or no? The laws of reflection,
Yes, sir.
the laws of reflection are the laws of reflection are applicable for plane surfaces for plane surfaces as well as curved, or we can say spherical surfaces. Spherical surfaces. What it says, it means that if the surface is like this, yes or no, this is a curved surface, yes or no, madam? And if the
Yes,
surface
sir.
if the surface is like this is also a curved surface,
Yes, sir.
yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And if the rays of light falls on it, suppose this is the incident ray, then it will reflect it into the same medium after the striking on the surface, yes or no, beta?
Yes.
And
Yes, sir.
here also the laws of reflection are applicable. This is called incident ray and this is reflected ray. And again here, for the second case, if the incident ray strike on the surface like this and it is reflected into the same medium after striking on the surface, and the normal again here, and this is the point of incidence. This is the point of incidence which is marked by blacking, point of incidence. This is also called points of incidence. And here angle I is equal to angle R. Here again angle I is equal to angle R. So the laws of reflection are applicable for the plane surfaces, reflection through the plane surfaces as well as the curved surfaces. Okay, note it down. Point is a ray of light, striking, a ray of light falling normally on the surface, on the surface retraces its path. Okay. Now, what do you understand by normally?
सर वही जैसे नॉर्मल जाता है परपेंडिकुलर.
Okay. Now, suppose this is the plane mirror. Okay, this is the plane mirror, and the ray of light is falling on the mirror is perpendicularly or normally. Normally means to say along the normal. Normally की जो डायरेक्शन बेटा वो यही होगी, देखो, yes or no? Normally होगा बेटा, yes or no? And if the incident ray falls on it like this normally, yes or no, beटा? The incident ray falls normally on it, then what will happen? The ray of light which falls normally on the reflecting surface.
Screen is lagging.
चलिए बेटा, वो तो क्या थोड़ा सा वो है ना, इसकी वजह से हो सकता है. देखिए, the ray of light striking on the surface normally. तो नॉर्मली जब कोई भी रे स्ट्राइक करेगी बेटा, तो मुझे बताओ यहाँ पर एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस कितना होगा? Tell me the angle of incidence.
90 degree.
90 degree.
90 degree or 0 degree?
So 0.
0.
0 degree.
0 degree.
Because
90 degree.
normal and the incident ray are in the same direction. So the angle between the incident ray and normal is will be
0
Zero.
degree.
0 degree. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Will,
sir.
will be equal to 0 degree. Then if I talk about the angle of reflection, that angle of reflection is equal to
0.
0 degree.
degree.
According to laws of reflection, angle of reflection भी क्या होना चाहिए बेटा? 0 होना चाहिए. तो यहाँ पर अगर मैं एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन भी अगर मैं मार्क करूँ तो एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन भी क्या होगा बेटा? सेम डायरेक्शन में रिफ्लेक्ट करेगी ऐसे, है ना? तो देखो यहाँ पर जो रे जिस पाथ से रे ने स्ट्राइक किया था उसी पाथ पर वो क्या कर रही है, फिर से उसी पाथ से वापस वो रिफ्लेक्ट हो जाएगी. तो इसका मतलब क्या हो गया बेटा? द रे ऑफ लाइट retraces its path when it is striking normally on the mirror. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no बेटा? Note it down. तो यहाँ पर मुझे बताइए ग्लैंस एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस कितना होगा बेटा?
90 degree.
ग्लैंस एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस
90 degree.
90 degree. And glance angle of reflection
90 degree.
90 degree.
Degree.
glance angle of reflection. अच्छा मुझे ये बताइए कि एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन कितना होगा बेटा?
So 180 degree.
एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन
So 180 degree.
180
degree.
वेरी गुड. क्योंकि देखो इंसिडेंट रे की डायरेक्शन बेटा ये है और रिफ्लेक्टेड रे की डायरेक्शन ये है ना? यस और नो?
Yes.
रिफ्लेक्टेड रे की डायरेक्शन
Yes.
जब ये होगी तो इन दोनों के बीच में जो एंगल में फॉर्म करूंगा यही वाला होगा बेटा. देखो एंड दिस इज कॉल्ड द 180 डिग्री. सो हमारे पास में यहाँ कितना हो जाएगा? एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन इज इक्वल टू 180 डिग्री. यस और नो बेटा? तो ऐसे आपको रे डायग्राम देख करके आपको ये पता करना है कि व्हाट विल बी द एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस, व्हाट विल बी द एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन, व्हाट विल बी द एंगल ऑफ ग्लैंस एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस, व्हाट इज द एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन, एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन. ये सब आपको आना चाहिए रे डायग्राम देख करके. ओके चलिए इसको नोट डाउन कीजिए बेटा.
Sir, angle of deviation.
Okay. So we can write the angle of incidence plus 60 degree is equal to 90 degree. So here angle of incidence is equal to 90 minus 60 degree, which is equal to 30 degree. Yes or no beta?
Yes, sir.
So angle of
sir.
incidence is
Yes,
equal
sir.
to 30 degree. And according to laws of reflection, we can say that angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So an angle of reflection is x. So x will be 30 degree.
30 degree.
30 degree.
30.
Yes or no beta?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
And let's do the second question. In second question, what we have, suppose this is the plane mirror, and if a ray of light strikes on the surface and bounce back into the same medium after striking on the surface, and that is the normal. That is normal, and it is the angle of incidence, which is 45 degree, and this is the direction of incident ray. Then what will be the value of x? What will be the value of x? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And what will be the value of x? Tell me.
I think so 135 degree.
144 degree.
It will be 90 degree.
The 90 degrees.
The 90 degree.
90 degree. So see what we can say, that we can say that angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Yes or no beta?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we can say that this angle is 45 degree.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no beta? And we know
Yes.
that the total angle on the incident ray. So if I draw the angle like this is the total angle beta.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? So I can write angle of incidence plus angle of reflection plus x is equal to 180 degree. Yes or no beta?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So here 45 plus 45 plus x is equal to 180 degree, beta?
Yes.
Yes, 90 plus x.
Yes or no? So when we
Yes,
solve
sir.
it, then x will be equal to 90 degree. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes or no? Okay, note it down first.